The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome everyone to today's webinar. My name is Rishabh. I'm the marketing coordinator here at Struxsoft Solutions, now part of the Great Tech Group. And I'm joined by Parnaz, our software application specialist, who will walk us through the latest updates to the multi-layer and truss modules in our new MWF build, now compatible with Revit 2023. MWF, which stands for Metal Wood Framer, is our flagship software that helps you automate and streamline the modeling and manufacturing of your timber and light gauge steel framing right inside the Autodesk Revit environment. Before we begin the presentation, feel free to ask any questions that you may have by typing them into the questions tab of the webinar dashboard, and we shall answer them once Parnaz is done with her demonstration. If you would prefer to ask your question verbally instead of typing it in the GoToWebinar dashboard interface, you can raise your hand to notify one of us, and we shall unmute you. And finally, you can view the recorded version of this webinar on our YouTube channel or social media accounts such as LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook by the end of the day at 5:30 p.m. EST. And that's it for me for the introduction. I hope you enjoy the webinar. And now I'll let Parnaz take over and continue with the demonstration.
Thank you, Rishabh. So hello, everyone. Today, we are going to see the new features that we have added for wall multi-layer panels and also our truss module. I'm going to start with the multi-layer. So if I go to settings here, top, we always had the sheeting template, but we have added some new features to our sheeting templates. I'm just going to open the default template that we have. Let's click on modify and check the new features that were added here. The first thing that has been added here is the sheeting layout. So we are going to have different layout selections: the basic vertical tiled, horizontal tiled, horizontal staggered, and vertical staggered. The new option that we have added is optimized. With the optimized layout selection, MWF is going to place the optimized number of sheets to your panel. The other option that we have here is the layout direction. Now we can define where we would like to start placing our sheetings on the panel. If we want to start from the start point, from the end point on both sides, so it is going to place a full sheet on the start point and end point, and it will place whatever left in between, or at center bay. So with this option, it will place the full sheet at center bay, and it will continue placing the sheets to the edges. The next option that has been added here is on the opening settings tab. We have this option for break sheeting panels at opening bounds. As you can see, we have the preview on the right. When this option is checked, it means that at each opening bound, the sheeting is going to break. If I unselect this one, you will see that this is not the case. For one option, which is the optimized one, we don't have the option to select or unselect this one. That is why this option is grayed out. But if I come here and switch it to, for example, vertical staggered, when we come back here, we can easily unselect it, and you will see that it is no longer breaking the sheeting at any opening bound. Now let's go back to this model. In the first level, as you can see, we are breaking the sheeting at each opening. The first one has the template for horizontally staggered panels. The second one is horizontally tiled. The third one is vertically staggered. And the last one is the optimized version. Now, if I come here and select all these walls, now we can come back here to operations dropdown and click on quick create. These are not the same wall types. These are 4 different wall types that different sheeting templates has been assigned to them. Now we can go through them one by one and switch their sheeting templates. Now we just want to see the difference. I just need to select any member of the panel, back to operations dropdown and wall properties. Before it had the template for horizontally staggered. Now if we want to switch it, I just need to click on the template. I'm having 2 screens, that is why it shows up there. Now we can switch it to horizontally staggered no break. For these templates, the option for breaking the sheeting has been unchecked. So we can just select it and regenerate all. With this new panel, as you can see, the sheetings has been just horizontally staggered throughout the whole panel. Now we can go and try it for the next panels as well. Let's come back here to the wall properties. We can click on the template and we can switch it to, this one is horizontally tiled. Now we want to switch it to horizontally tiled, no break. Select and regenerate all. And the last one here for vertically staggered. We just need to switch the template here to no break, select and regenerate all. At this time, if I zoom out, you will see the difference between these two options. The next thing that we can try here is to see what different layout directions do for our sheeting templates. I just need to quick create these walls one more time. And this time we are going to add these modifications as an instance to our sheeting templates. So we just need to select any member of our panel back to our wall properties. But this time, instead of clicking on the template, we are going to unlock finish one and let's click on edit. Back to sheeting layout, and we are going to try placing the sheeting from the endpoint. Just to be able to verify them better, I'm going to uncheck break sheeting as well. Let's click on OK and regenerate all. By default, as you might know, the start point of our panel is where E1 is. So if we want to check that, we just want to select the first stud here. And as you can see, this is our end stud because the label for that member is E2. Now we have set the layout direction from end, and that is why the first full sheeting has been placed from the end point of our panel. Now we can switch to the next one and we can try a new option for the second panel. We just need to unlock it. Let's click on edit, back to sheeting layout, and we can this time switch it to both sides. So with this option, it will place full sheeting on both sides of our panel. I'm just going to uncheck break sheeting again, and let's regenerate all. We will get 2 full sheetings on both sides of our panel. And the last option that we are going to try here for our multi-layer panels is at center bay. So unlock, edit. Let's switch it to at center bay and let's uncheck break sheeting. Okay, and regenerate all. It will place the full sheeting at center bay and it will continue placing the sheeting to the edges. So these were the new features that we have added for our multi-layer panels and specifically for sheetings. Now let's switch to our Truss module. So in our Truss module, the first feature that we have recently added is the line options. If you have been working with advanced metal, you know that for these hip end envelopes, we can always add the auto truss connection. With the auto truss connection, we are transferring the loads from the jacks to the ridge, and we are also calculating the load of the jack on the ridge that we have here on the model. We have 3 main ways of creating these envelopes: truss profile commands, line-based, and also by drawing lines in Revit and grouping them together. With these 2 first options that we have, we are actually tagging those members on the backend. So we won't have any issues for adding auto truss connections. But if we would like to just draw the lines, oddball lines, group them together and create an envelope, in that case, before we weren't able to add auto truss connections for those envelopes because MWF couldn't recognize which line is the top chord, which line is the bottom chord, and the heels. But now with this new option, if I just isolate one of these envelopes that we have here, we can just select the envelope, can click on line option. We just need to select the line that we are manually tagging, and we will get this line options dialog box. Here we can manually tag each line that has been drew in the envelope. For example, this is going to be the top chord. Okay. We can try this again for the bottom chord as well. I just need to select the bottom chord, and we can select bottom chord here as the line options. And we can also select the heels. So we can select the line and we can apply heel for those specific lines and OK. In this case, if you prefer to create oddball envelopes in your project, you can do that. You can use the line options command to tag those members, and you can easily add auto truss connections for those oddball envelopes. Let's go back to our project by typing HR. So this was the first new option that we have added here. Now for the second option, if I select any of the envelopes in my project, we can click on create. First, we will get this dialog box that you are familiar with. You can click on do not show again and OK. And here in the presets, if we go to our webbing tab, you will see that we have a new node type option as a single node. I'm just going to set the single node here, and then we will see the difference between a default node type and a single node type in our Truss Designer dialog box. Let's just make sure that the member sizes are all set. And let's click on OK. Again, the node type this time is set to single node. So again, as you can see, we have a new UI for our Truss Designer. All the commands are the same. We have just improved the UI that we have here. But now that we are here, if I change the view type here to physical, and if we zoom in here, you will see that the members has been connected to each other on a single node. So some of our clients, they prefer not to just pin the members together, but to use a bolt and connect these webbings and top chords with a bolt on a single node. With this new feature that we have added, they can easily analyze and design these trusses in MWF. Now, if I click on setting and come back here to webbing and let's switch it to default, we can just easily notice the difference between these new options that we have. So this is the default setting, and this is the single node option that has been added here. The next option that we have recently added to our Truss Designer is partial cap or brace. So you know that in our available catalogs for our trusses, we have a catalog for BIMSF SSMA cap trusses and BIMSF SSMA brace trusses. With those two catalogs, we were able to cap or brace the top chord and bottom chord. But now what if we have a point load and we just want to partially cap or brace a member? In that case, we can just click on partial cap brace and we can assign the nodes that we are going to place the cap or brace in between. So for example, if we would like to cap or brace between node 6 and node 10, you can just easily come here and select them. But at this point, if I click on OK, we will get this warning. Braced option must be enabled for top chords. Why? Because when we go back to settings, we need to make sure that in member sizes for the top chord and bottom chord, we have checked off the option for braced. If we select a wall truss, we will get the option to brace members. And if we select back to back, we will get the option to cap the members. When we check this option off, it will filter out all the families that are available for a capped catalog. So it is really important to check off this option if we want to use that partial cap and brace item. Let's go back here, set it to wall truss. Let's make sure that we have checked off the option for brace and OK. Now, if we come back here, we can select between node 6 and node 10 and OK, and we won't get any warnings at this point. We can easily analyze or design these trusses. So let's just click on Analyze. We haven't set the sections, so it might pass or fail, but at this point it doesn't matter because we just want to check the diagrams. So it failed, it's okay, but let's also check the diagrams. It might pop up on my other screen. Yes, so now if we zoom in, you will see the braced member here. And when we select Show Detail, we can check the information for all these critical points. There is also a purple point here on the braced member. This is what we call a development length. We know that this member has been braced from this point to this point, but we have set a development length in our settings where it shows us after specific length, the member is going to get to that specific strength that we are looking for. So if I double click on this critical point, and if we look at the information here, we will see that the section is still 350S. It hasn't been braced yet. But if we pass that development length, and if we click on the next critical point, you will see that the section is now calculated as 350S cap. But where can we assign this value? If we go back here to settings, in our physical member, we have a new option here on the bottom for developed length for brace and cap. By default, it is set to 4 inches. But for example, if we change it to 8 and OK, now if we generate the diagrams again, you will see that the value has been updated on our diagram. So let's just zoom in, show details, and zoom in. Now the value here is updated. It's 8 inches. These two critical nodes or critical points that we have are still set to 350S. Same thing for this one, but between this point and the one that we have here, all these critical point sections are 350 cap 137. Now that we have applied everything, let's just click on OK and see the partially capped member in our model. It will just generate the truss. In the model. And if we zoom in, let me just select this truss HI2 isolated. You will see the extra member that has been added partially to the top chord. Now let's unlock this truss. Let's go back to settings, unlock, and click on properties. And this time we can test a back-to-back truss. I just need to change the truss type. So we can switch back to settings. Let's change the truss type to luggage back-to-back. In member sizes, we need to make sure that we are filtering out the available sections for the capped catalog. Now we can click on OK and OK. And it will generate a back-to-back truss with a partially capped member. Here is the capped member that has been added to this truss. So these are all the new features that we have been adding to MWF.
All right, Pernaz, thank you for the demonstration. And now we'll just open the floor for any of your questions to come in. So if you had any questions about the new features in the Truss or multi-layer modules, then feel free to ask them. Once again, you can either raise your hand in the GoToWebinar dashboard, or you can type it via the questions tab. And in the meantime, as we wait for any questions to pop in, I'd just like to invite you to visit our LinkedIn channel at linkedin.com/company/StruxSoftSolutions, where you can find weekly educational content, articles about trending topics and company news, and also where you can view the recorded version of this webinar. We're just going to wait maybe a few more seconds to see if any last-minute questions come in. Doesn't seem like it, so looks like a wrap for today. In case you do find yourself requiring any further clarifications about the new features in MWF, then feel free to reach out to us. Our contact details will be provided along with your recording tomorrow via email. And additionally, if you would like to set up a one-on-one demonstration or a training with one of our product experts, we will be happy to set that up as well for you. And that's the end of this webinar. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today, and we do hope you have a great day ahead.